Okay. Okay. All right. Here we go. So before we good morning, good to see you, Karen. Before we start, actually, I'm going to do some demonstrating because this is a little bit strange. Uh, I'll talk about this in terms of doing kind of like the development of the embryo and the development of the human being, the bed, and the development of us as cellular organisms, all kind of mirroring each other. And last week we talked about the endoderm, the gut sphere, the ectoderm being the skin and the nervous system, and the mesoderm being the bones and muscles. So in the womb inside, it's like a cake. So there's the bottom sponge, which we call the endoderm, which all the guts, our innards, and our lungs. And then the top of the cake is what will eventually become our skin and our nervous system. And then in between is like the jam. And these have different qualities, these cells. Like the endoderm, they're more kind of cuboid cells. The ectoderm, they're more elongated cells. And the jam in the middle is really kind of slimy. It's like wallpaper paste. It's a movable feast. Well, we did that last week. We talked a bit about that last week. Interesting thing about the ectoderm and the development of the skin and the nervous system is that, so for me, this is the business end of existence. Is that the skin is the outer layer of our brain, and all the developmental parts of the rest of us, the eyeballs, the ears, all those things are just the same stuff as the brain. Um, the back of the eyeball is just the same stuff as the brain. One exception, and this we'll play with this today, is the tongue. The tip of the tongue, the cells there are connected to the brain and in the same way, but the other end of the tongue is developed from the endoderm, the part of the body which is the guts. So we are going to play with that idea in this lesson, the idea of this being the beginning of the tract that leads the lungs and the guts. Okay, so then out of this cake, a hole starts here and a hole starts here, and there's this tract that joins the amniotic sac with our vestigial yolk part. So it's like that. And then out of that tract emerges the notochord, which is an ancient mid-center part of us that we share with way back, millions of years. We share that with Amphioxus, which is like the very distant ancestor fish of ours. So that track is something that we are going to play with today. It is a core thing that says, okay, we're going to go in this direction in order to get food, or we're going to go in this direction in order to meet someone we like. That core thing, out of that core thing, the mesoderm, our muscle system, builds up from there to somites, and then also joins in all our nervous system. Everything kind of builds around that to build the spinal column. So our movement today is going to be based around those ideas. So to start off with, we're going to have blocks under her head. We're just going to lie down and be in this position. Just going to talk a little bit about feelings and the nodding of the top of the tube. We're going to see if we can do a yes, very tiny, and a no, very tiny, almost imperceptibly, just to see if we can isolate that from the rest of the tube. Then after that, going to elongate out of here. Can you sit this as you can? Elongate out of here. And then we're going to bring ourselves back to being a baba, a little tiny baby, a little baby. And we're going to imagine that our mother has come in and we smell our mother, or we see our mother, or we hear mother, or a maternal object, or a provider, a carer. And we're going to follow that mother round with our eyes, following. Now follow right the way round, and then at some point this whole system is going to come in. As that system comes in, the arm is going to flop up. We're going to continue following around, and then the whole system will flop over. Note that I'm not doing this. I'm not going like that. I'm not going like that. I'm following the top of the channel. And then I'm going to do the same thing the other way. I'm going to turn. I'm going to follow. I'm going to follow right the way around, and flop around the other way. So we're going to do that with the eyes first, and then we're going to close the eyes and pick another system and do do it with a different sense. Yeah. Now, what's real fun about this, of course, is how you let everything else go. So as I watch the maternal figure, we're going to go to the left first, and then we're going to go to the right. So as I watch the maternal figure, you see how this leg wants to do stuff? I'm going to ask that not to do stuff, but I'm going to listen to how it will not do stuff. Now, it may seem impossible, but it is possible. Then, after we've done that for a bit, nearly done demoing, we're going to do it. We'll do it from the front, and when we do it from the front, we're going to look under our armpit and watch as if the maternal figure is flying across us and onto the other floor, and we're going to do it that way. So the head is going to be moving down and around. Okay? All right. Is that all right?
Have another block.
Yes, I have.
Do you want to use this one? I think I'll use one.
This one's really good. Oh, good. We've got plenty of time to experiment with this. So these are the instigations for this. If you find that you have your own explorations that you would like to dig around in as a result of going, oh, that doesn't seem to be doing what I thought it would do, or there is a place where you would like to look to releasing, then please feel free to carry on investigating those points of release.
James,
Yes.
I have a question.
Yeah.
would we be looking for, or what is the goal, the benefit of this exercise?
The benefit of this exercise is to notice what things you hold on to outside of your senses or the sensory instigation. So, from an Alexander technique point of view, this would be a very basic or fundamental idea of the head leading, the body following. There are a couple of aspects of the head rolling or moving into prone or moving out of prone into semi-supine, which is how the rest of the system undulates the wrong word, responds to the change in shape with contraction rather than releasing the length. So with the tanehede, with the dede moving, and this of course the baby's got a really large head and is only just developing what they call the secondary curve, the back of the neck and the lumbar curve, those secondary curves. And so there are all kinds of differences as far as anatomy is concerned with you as an adult and a baby. But the concept is the same, releasing to lengthen. It's really about rediscovering those curves in the act of movement. Yeah. Hopefully there should be a lot of other benefits tied into it as well. But thank you for that question. Really great. For instance, the way that your thoracic curve interacts with this is a really fun place to explore. How the head moves back to look for the caregiver, and you'll feel the rest of your thorax respond to that movement. But to begin with, the very first thing I would like to encourage is just the eyes dropping down and letting see if you just sense the very top of the head moving. So that's all right, I'm going to use my hands to find this. So rather than moving the whole of the neck, seeing if you can use the very top of the yes, the very top. Yeah. Yeah. So that the rest of the neck is free from that movement. Yeah. And then you can look side to side and let the head move as if you're looking for something. And the fascinating thing about this is the back of the head rolls in place there. Like you've seen babies when they're in their cot doing their thing, then that back of the head is rubbed. There's like normally a bald patch where the baby's head has been going backwards and forwards and up and down. And this is kind of body mapping here. You'll feel that the is slightly higher up on the on the back neck spine system than the no. Turn the head on the yes. Yeah, that's fantastic. Yes. The no again? This is no. It's alright, I use my hands. I didn't ask you that, Julia. I'm sorry. I apologize. Yeah. There you go. Yes. No. And while you're lying there, see if you can use the contact points on the floor to allow a sense of release, giving yourself permission to let go. And interesting idea about letting go. Throughout throughout our lives, there's this idea, oh, just let go, just be in the moment, just let go. And of course, actually, all associations of letting go are, you let go of your support, and something terrible is going to happen. So when you're first riding a bike, the person lets go of you, and you're on the bike, you're going, no. So in this situation, which is part of the fun of Dart, is that you have already fallen. You're already on the floor. So you can scan through the system to say, okay, I'm on the floor, I'm being supported, I'm in a safe place, I can let go. And the concept of letting go muscularly will bring out the concept of being able to let go mentally. Yeah. Okay, so Now just allow your feet to creep forward like caterpillars. Caterpillar forward. And you're not trying to elongate your spine. You're just allowing your spine to be supported by the floor as you elongate your caterpillar feet. It's going to remind your feet of the connection with the top of the skull. And then your heels can come and look for the wall on the other side. So your toes can come up to the ceiling. If your toes come up to the ceiling, yeah. Imagine the fingertips. The fingertips are coming up to the ceiling. And drift up. And you can circle them around so they come to the ground. Yes. Yeah, and they're just going to lie on top of your head. As high up as they can go at the top. Let one hand come and support your head. And let the other hand take the block, the piece of wood away from underneath your head. Just gently rest with it. Yeah, that's it. Beautiful. And then just lie here just for a minute and let your bones sink into the floor. Let your muscles sink around those bones. I would see if we can imagine the idea that we are babies on the floor and that our arms and legs are not quite so well developed, not so big, strong, articulate limbs, rather soft and unexplored limbs. And at the moment, in this state, you're in your cot or in the cradle, and you're waiting for your maternal caregiver figure to come in with maybe some food or something exciting. Although in this state, everything is exciting. So, you can use the stimulants that are in the room right now or wherever you are. You can open your eyes and look around. Just let your eyes, the sound of the smells or even your taste, what's in your mouth, all those things, just let your head just have a little look around. So if you see something out of the corner of your eye, you're just going to let your head go towards that. You see, or you hear something off to the side, you're just going to let your ears pick that up, you're going to follow that sound. And I'm gonna invite you to flip in your imagination, just for a moment, between I want to get up or I want to go get that of an adult mind. You go, oh, I'm going to go and get that, and see what happens to the muscular movement of your body when you enter into the adult mind. You see something and you immediately then have a stimulus for responding to it. You know, look, see something else, pull it right, say, oh, or you hear the music, say, I'm going to turn that down. Or so associations, how that changes your muscular response to the entire system with what I'll call an adult mind or developed mind. And then see if you can come back to the baby state and just respond with what is that? What is that? And then just a little movement of the head in response to some stimulus. Okay, so now I'm going to invite you to look down, because that's where the doorway is of the room. You're going to look down. You're going to see the maternal figure come in, and they're beginning to walk around, and your head follows that. Yes, following that all the way around, going all the way around, up above and behind and over your head. It may feel impossible to begin with because it's such a strange thing. We're very used to the head. You can imagine that the heart is going to follow the arc of the head, and then the lower part follows. Beautiful. Oh, that's gorgeous. Yeah. That's so good. Even that you're on low path. Wow. And then you can go back the other way. So looking up, looking up, looking up. There she is. There it is. And you have to trust that. Yeah. Wow. Beautiful. Yeah. That's it. Exactly. It's strange because we probably haven't done it for a long time. Look. Yeah. Oh, perfect. So in this weird action that is seems to be counterintuitive, I invite you to when you're looking, or at the point of most struggle's the wrong word, most perplexity, ask yourself to come back to the senses. So if it is that you're looking in a particular way, then you're going to continue to see if you can see the floor. See if you can see the floors. Yeah. What is amazing about watching you all do this is how much you're leaving the legs alone. Yeah, very nice. So look. See. Oh, oh, oh. Here's a fun instigation tied in with this now. So you're using the eyes to roll backwards and forwards. So this time, close your eyes, and I'm going to invite you to just follow the track of your tongue. So this idea of the development of the nervous system, the development of muscularity, and the development of the sense of taste, they all come into this very important part of the body, the tongue, which has an instigation for movement, for either speaking, breathing, eating, communicating, touching. The tongue has all those things tied into it. So if you can imagine the tip of the tongue being something which is an exploratory organ to the baby, and that organ going all the way down the intestinal tract, all the way down, and you've also got the breathing system as well tied into that. This is a very old system. And then see if you can imagine that the caregiver is coming in, and that is stimulating that entire system in the same way. So you're going to look down with the tongue. You're going to follow with the whole gut system. That is all looking over, and that's going to take you over. You're looking with your tongue, and then your gut, and then the rest falls over. Yeah. And see if you can tell what is different doing it this way from doing it with the eyes. You could even flip between the two. Tongue is reaching. Here's another fun thing that you can experiment with, of course, and that is that as you turn, what can you let go in that moment? Yes, so you can pause. Yes, exactly. Looking at the tongue. Trust the tongue. Yeah, trust the gut. Yes. That's beautiful. Okay, so next time you end up on your front, just shunt yourself onto the onto your towel on prone. And here is a fascinating aspect of prone. And Walter Carrington, uh, he was an early Alexander teacher. He talked about prone being uh, somewhat difficult position, face down. And one of the reasons he said it was difficult was because of the collapse of the thoracic cage in this position. Well, um, here, what we are going to do in order to avoid that idea of collapse is imagine that as the head comes into prone and the forehead comes into connection with the floor, you know, allow a sigh in the rib cage so that the, the thoracic cage or the rib cage fills the back. Yes, that's it. Can we take this side? It's also one of the reasons why sometimes um, dart teachers will have some books under sternum in order to as the thorax fills the back, and as the forehead comes into contact with the floor, is asking for elongation along the tract of the spine. So here, this is the same concept of rolling over, only this time, rather than looking up and behind, I'm going to look under the armpit and then follow the line up over the ceiling, and then you're going to just keep the rotation so that you're going to look over onto the floor behind you. Yes, that's absolutely fantastic. Yes. And I find, I'm going to confess, his confessional, dark confessional, I find this particular movement really not very easy. But I'm not going to impose my peccadillos on you. It may be that you find this easier than the other movement. So at this point, I am going to bring back the dark credo. So at any point, you can ask yourself this question: what can I let go of as a result of this movement? So it's not something that a baby would ask themselves, because a baby is just moving for the sheer joy and novelty of it. but at some points during this, just catch yourself when you are in a state of when you're in a state of tension, which is habitual. So if you find, for instance, that as you're turning your head, your right buttock decides, hey, okay, we're doing that thing, let's do it. See if you can then ask that gluteus maximus to take a break. Use all kinds of images here. The image of a snake, for instance. A snake begins at the very top of the head and everything follows behind. All at once, one after the other. Or one after the other, all at once. Really wonderful explorations going on here. So a fascinating thing that I'm observing is how your arms have all changed. If it's too intense or too much, just take a break, take a breather. What a baby would do. Okay, so wherever you end up on your back or on your side, we're just going to do the next developmental part, which is as far as the notochord is concerned, moving from side to side. So when the notochord is developed, it begins to build something called somites. And the somites begin in pairs either side of the column. And these can move one way or the other, either left or right. So those are the first things that actually really develop some movement from what I'm given to understand. So in this case, you can just see if your head can slide across the floor to one side and then let the rest of the spine follow onto that. So you're going to remain on your back. And you're just going to turn your head to one side and then let the rib cage follow that to one side. And then let the pelvis follow that. So you're bending the spine to one side. It's like a side bend. When the pelvis is bent that way, you can then bend the other way. So you're like a snake sliding across the floor. See if you can just slide the spine. Yes. I'm going to do some physical explanation. Yeah. Yes, exactly. You see how your pelvis. So you can really snake the body very gently on the floor and let the pelvis come that square. A very old movement. Yeah, fascinating thing about this weird little snake-like movement is how the limbs just come along for the ride. You can see if you can rub the back of your head on the floor like a baby would. So there's this idea of the baby, yes, like that. That's it. Like, there's also associations with a fish, the way fish move. So they only really have two things that go side to side. Or a shark will move like that. The difference between a shark and a whale is shark moves side to side. Whale has an undulation. And at the moment we're shark, Amphioxus, some fishy critters. And then you can find yourself on the front and see if you can do the same thing in prone. So looking over like a baby, beautiful. Yes, beautiful. Yeah. And we'll just spend a little bit of time doing this. If you find yourself on the towel so you're not having to deal with the carpet. And when you're moving side to side, you know there's going to be a little bit of an imprint of the forehead on the floor. And as the head moves, then slowly, yes, then the tail follows. Okay. So then in front, you're just gonna be there for just a moment. Yeah. Let your guts be free there. Let your pelvis be free there. Let your chest lengthen and widen. Bring your hands by your ears and just let your shoulder girdle just release into the floor. You can turn your head to one side. Yes. And then I'm going to come up onto our feet. So I'm going to invite you to find whatever way you like to come up onto your feet. There are ways in which you can do a spiral up, or you can send your pelvis back into a crawling position and then crawl up to standing. There's this this step here, you can crawl up to the step and then come up from there. What I'd like you to engage with, if possible, is still the idea of the senses leading you upwards. So you can still use the maternal figure that is before you or the caregiver that brings you up into vertical. And it is the notochord or the primitive part of you that is bringing you up into standing. Oh, God's glory. Yes. And you can do the same, have the same idea for movement. If you are going to turn your head or you're going to move in a particular direction, your, your senses are the sharp things that guide you from one place to another, from one point to another. Very nice. Really nice. That idea of turning from the tongue, see if that has a different connection. So, tongue turns, the gut follows. Or if the ear hears, then there's the connection to the yearning or the want, and the rest follows. And if tension appears in the legs or the butt or the lower part of the pelvis, see what it feels like if you pause and you come to the idea of the notochord being the thing that's connected down, and the center being the thing that's taken up. So in the same way as you are lying on the floor and the legs were just developing, so when you're vertical, the same thing could be said for the legs. So what you're doing is you're just carrying this thing, this sensory, uh, the sensory staff or the sensory spine, this sense organ through space. And thanks for joining.